Coming up on the show, we are talking to MoFlava. He's going to talk to us about parenting. He's going to talk to us about a beautiful transition he made in his life, getting to know his dad after he has passed on. But also, he needs to explain to us why he doesn't wear a wedding ring. I want to know. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Relebogile Mabotja podcast. Don't forget to follow us on the socials at Relebogile Pod. You can also email us podcast@relebogile.co.za. My goodness, there's a lot of Relebogile in all of this. But welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. Don't forget to comment down below with who you'd like to see me interview, and always put your questions down for the guests and I will nudge them to come through and answer you. Today's guest is somebody I consider a friend and a big brother in the industry, and I might have to make a confession about him during the conversation. MoFlava, how are you?
What's going on, Mabotja? Mabotja.
You're the only one who says Mabotja the way you do. Thank you for coming.
Absolute pleasure.
Even though we literally see each other every day.
Every day.
We see each other every day because we're across from one another at work.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you have for lunch before the show.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's dirty. Never clean.
And do I bring light to your day?
Always, always. But you also stress me out.
Why?
Because you're always busy. And every time I see you, you tell me about how busy and like overwhelmed and stressed you are about everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much that's going on in your world and in your life, and your show hasn't even started. You haven't even started unpacking your show. You've still got 2 hours to worry about.
And sometimes I'm telling you like 3 minutes before I go on.
Exactly. And I'm like, are you sure I don't want to get a stand?
You really do say that. Can I make a confession?
Yeah.
Long ago, I just fell in, like I had such a crush on your voice.
Oh.
No, I really did.
Really?
And then I remember you interviewing me at YFM, and I'll always give you props for that platform and that conversation, because that's when somebody was like, you should do radio.
Wow.
You sounded like a co-host with Mo, and that seed got planted. So I will always give you credit for being a part of my radio career and journey. Also, when we worked together at Metro FM, and I was still green, not just to the technical part of music radio, but I was also green to being in the SABC building, and you know, the co-hosting part, like so many things. And just, thank you. We went through so much.
Listen, before we even, got to experience, radio at Metro together at that level, I mean, one of the things that really just drew me to you was just how bubbly you were. Like, you have like a wholesomeness.
Ooh.
A wholesome woman. You know what I mean?
That.
And that probably is the reason why, the interview we had on Y, for example, probably popped off so well. And that's probably one of the reasons, because the thing about energy is that you pick it up immediately.
Yeah.
And there's an energy that I picked up in you, like a genuineness that you just give off through your eyes and through how you speak when you speak to someone. And that has stayed with me all along.
Wow.
To the extent that even when we did a TV show together.
Wait, which one?
The remix.
Oh, Flip, sorry. I didn't
where I was a judge. And I remember because there was an audition process. And, and when I saw you there, I'm like, I'm getting this gig. I'm getting this role. Because the feeling is that like you are a sure bet as a person. Like you're not someone that will surprise in the negative. So people can be sure of you.
Can I hire you to motivate me?
What you see is what you get, and people shouldn't make a mistake. Like, you are an animal on the job. You're a beast behind the scenes. This is nice. The cameras are on, and I mean, you've been an actor before, so that. But behind the scenes, you are an absolute machine, and I got to experience that side of you. But even in that context, when you were one of the producers on the remix, a show that was so hectic, lots of eps in a day, etc., lots of moving parts, you were just able to be the animal and also be like gentle. And you don't find a lot of that in this industry. People are either this or that. So I think for me, that's kind of the thing that stuck with me about you, the wholesomeness. It's just there.
Do you see how shy I'm getting listening? I needed to come and be my motivational talker, a speaker, like personal. And I'll tell you why. I wish that the way that people see me positively is a way I could, like the fact that you said you're a sure bet. I always stress that I'm not. Like I always, no, and I think it's a thing that's kept me going in a positive way. I think there must be a certain level of not being sure of yourself to keep yourself on your toes. You know what I mean? Like if ever I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I've nailed this radio thing, then like what must happen after the fact?
No, but you know, the thing about having talent is that you're gracious about how good you are because you have it. It's like with the radio thing and the news reading thing on Metro and how that was pretty much what, like your first rodeo in that sense, right? I mean, you did it with aplomb. I think you got an award for it, or if yeah, exactly. So, but you're so talented that you don't have to tell people you're talented. It just comes through.
You know how I want to know I'm talented by look at my bank account. That's how I want to know. Can my bank account match my talent?
No, but think about all the things that you've gone through that aren't great in this industry. And where you are now, as somebody that's just on the outside, but I feel like where you are now is reward season.
Oh.
Like all those rewards.
Yes.
Yeah? Whether it's Pick and Pay rewards,
Loyalty.
Discovery, miles, vitality, whatever, right? This is reward season for you for all the stuff, all the crap that you've been put through, all the no's, whatever, because you're just ticking along beautifully.
I think I once cried to you. Did I not once cry to you during the Metro period because of just how, you know, how you are so excited for a certain chapter and then things don't go the way that you imagined they would. But also, I think it was such a blessing, like that whole experience. I wouldn't take it back for a thing. I feel like I cried to you more than once.
Yeah, and I think the thing about radio in South Africa is that, you know, Metro is the place that most broadcasters want to be at some stage in their careers. It's like that final destination. Yes, a lot of radio stations are great and they're brilliant in their respect, but Metro is where you want to be ultimately. And when you get there and there are experiences that are not so great for whatever the reason, then it's like, it's the disappointment of this place you've always wanted to go to and having to experience that disappointment. Maybe for you to lean on me was because of sort of a mutual trust. And I feel like the way you open up to me says that you trust me. And I like it when people trust me.
Some slimy uncle somewhere has said that. I like when people trust me. They started a cult on that. Would you ever go back to Metro FM? Considering where your home is now, and I'm pretty sure somebody's going to slice and dice and make a clip that's like, ex-Metro FM people now at Proud bashing, you know, which is not that at all. Yeah. But would you ever go back?
Not under the current leadership there now.
How do you, tell me more.
No, that's it.
Not under the current, as in a management or SABC as a whole?
No, not SABC as a whole. I've got no issues with SABC. I don't even have any issues with Metro.
Yes.
But you and I both know that there are people in positions of leadership, whether station managers, program managers, etc., that do have an impact on our careers one way or the other. Not whether or not you'll be great one day, not whether or not you're great now, just the impact in the experiences that they give you, in the things that they may put you through in whatever way, right? And so in the current sort of setup there, I don't see myself going back to Metro. But I love the platform, I love the audience, I love the brand. That will never change. I mean, that's just the reality.
I'm remembering that when I was leaving and when you were leaving, we spoke a lot. Just about 1,000,001 things. Yeah. But I don't know if you recall what I said to you when you were leaving, which is that I'm not worried about you at all.
It's a powerful statement because often when you leave certain places, You know, there's the worry that, oh, what's the phrase now? Oh, you're gonna fall off, or you know, all of that. But I've seen a lot of people come and go in the industry, right? Whether it's music, radio, you know, TV stars, whatever. And I also know the power of longevity. And one thing I'm confident about is the fact that everything that I've built in my career is to give me the longevity that I need for the next 5 years, and the next 5 years, and the next 5 years. So I love the fact that you had that confidence that I would be okay, because I would be and am okay, because I have built so much in my career to almost guarantee that no program manager, no station manager, no CEO is going to derail my path as a broadcaster.
I remember Unati being interviewed, I can't remember by who. It might have been by Pearl. What was the show on BET with the celebrities?
I think, was it not Pearl Tusi?
Pearl Tusi, yeah. I can't remember the name of that show, but you know which one I'm talking about. But something that stood out for me when they were talking about her experience at Metro. And it was what was the word you would use to describe your experience? And she said, character building. And that resonated with me so much. What would the word be that you would use?
It taught me how to grow up.
Oh, in what way?
It taught me how to be an adult. Because, you know, when you're an adult, there's a lot of things that you have to deal with that need strength. You need to know how to act in certain situations. When to lose your cool, when not to lose your cool. What success means, what success looks like. And so Metro was all of that. I must be honest with you, Mabotja. I can't sit here. I can't sit here.
Because the Mabotja thing is like, now everyone's in the hey, Mabotja. Yes.
I can't sit here and say that, you know, my experience at Metro for 8 years was horrible, because that would be a lie.
Yes. I
mean, I had 8 like riveting years at Metro. There were some moments that were terrible, but in the main, I can't complain. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, radio did me wrong, the industry did me wrong, Metro did me wrong. But I did learn a lot. I mean, coming from YFM at the time, I had to learn about, you know, being able to operate in that kind of environment at this ABC, where it's not as you know, a smaller ship. It's huge. It's got so many moving parts, so many people, so many factors, political and otherwise, that have an impact on it. I had to think about, you know, tapping into people's, you know, emotions across the country, not just in one region. All of those things, you know, help you grow. They raise you. They almost, you know, throw you into adulthood and your adulting experiences. Like, I think that's what adulting. I think that's the word. To circle back to your question, adulting. That is the word that I would describe, because you've got your debit orders that you need to worry about in terms of your experiences, right? You've got things that you need to pay your dues on, and you've got things that you need. I mean, I had to be a father. I had to raise people that I worked with. I had to, you know, mentor people that I worked with, and then I also had to, you know, be the breadwinner. You know, help the team win. You know, put out a good show, be a leader, be an example. I remember one of my former program managers, Tony Soglo, saying, Flava, you're the captain. You're the captain. I'm like, I'm no captain. There's Wilson Binkosi here. How can I be a captain? You know, there's Robert Marawa here. How can I be a captain? And so, but that's what it requires. So I think the whole concept of adulting and the interesting and challenging realities of life, that's kind of how I would summarize, you know, in a word, my experiences at Metro. But I can't sit here and say I got a raw deal. And yeah, I think that's the word.
Why did I think I shared this with you personally, that when I left and I turned down the opportunities for radio, that I was like, radio's not for me, and I was done. Why did you think that was ridiculous?
Of you?
Yeah, because I genuinely was like, when I was done, I was like, okay, radio's not for me. No.
It's because you can't base one experience and say, well, my journey is defined by that one moment. Nah, man. And because I got to experience your talent behind the mic as a radio broadcaster, I was like, there's no way you're done. There's just no way. the breakfast show that you and Fresh had was brilliant. You know, the dynamics, the banter. There's just no way you were done. And so that was the feeling that I had. And I know there were probably other platforms that were interested in you, and maybe it was a timing thing, I don't know. But you were not done. And as it turns out, you have one of the most wholesome radio shows on air right now on 702. And that's what I meant to say, you see, you're not done. You're not done. So
I see what you did there. We are not done yet.
that was actually one of the slogans at Metro, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not done yet.
So one of the things that I take comfort in my time at Metro is that I did all the big shows, right? When I got there, I did a very interesting 8 to 10 slot in the morning. You know, is it a breakfast show? Is it a mid-morning show? You know, it was kind of like that sort of space. But after a year, they moved me to afternoon drive. I did that for a few years, and then I got to do the breakfast show. So it's almost like you got to do the things that you actually wanted to do. So the time, you know, came for me to move on.
Yeah.
But when I look back, what do I see when I look back? You know, I just see boxes ticked, and then I'm like, okay, cool. So then actually, it's okay to leave now, because the things that I wanted to do have been done. I could have sat for 10 years on a breakfast show. I could have sat for 10 years on an afternoon drive show, but that's not the journey. And so I'm satisfied with what I did there, to be honest.
Why do people think you're arrogant?
I have no idea. I do know that, and this is not the first time, you know, I've had this question asked, by the way. I think people sometimes misunderstand confidence and being certain and sure of who you are and where you stand. Whether it's your opinion, whether it's a position that you take, and they misconstrue that as arrogance. And to be fair, I think a lot of us have arrogance in us. It's just a question of how much in dosage you're willing to give out there. And maybe being, you know, a media personality, being on platforms like radio and television, almost elevate even the smallest qualities that you have, you know, and it almost sort of superimposes it.
Yeah.
And when you're on a radio show, you give so much of yourself, your personality, your opinions. You know, you come with an argument or a viewpoint and something, I'm like, nah, Mabotja, no. Like that's not it. This is it. And then it comes across as arrogance. And I respect that. People can interpret you however they want to. They can have their own impressions. I'm not really bothered by it. What I've had to learn about being a broadcaster is that because you open yourself up so much, there's so much that you share, you don't even realize what you're sharing. You know, we talk about our lives, we talk about the things we've been through, we talk about our parents, our upbringing, our kids, the cars we drive. We talk about when we get paid. I mean, there's so much that you share that you don't even realize how that lands to the audience. And maybe there are certain things that landed as arrogance to others. And for others, I mean, I've heard humble. And I'm like, no, guys, DJ Smooth's humble.
Why are you saying DJ Smooth's
You know what I'm saying? Like he's, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're so humble. I mean, even today I saw a tweet. I think that the tweet was, you know, celebrities that are the most humble. And, you know, I was tagged. And I'm like, it's still there. I never set myself to be that. There are people who feel that way.
I get you.
And I can't argue it because there's clearly something I said somewhere or did somewhere that gave that impression.
All I'm going to say is Moeti's parking spot at Prime Media is not humble. Because I've seen multiple views. Every other day I'm like, what you driving now? Hey, I have to just share that the one day when I came into work, I said to you, you look different. Like, what's different? Because I couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah.
Like, are you tired? And then you said to me, oh, it's probably because I have no hair.
Yes.
And it ended up leading to you sharing with me an experience you went through. We even had an interview on 702. I might even put the link down below. But please share with us why you were hairless. Why were you hairless?
I was hairless on virtually every part of my body. and I know for you this is an important fact.
I forgot to ask you if you were hairless. Did I ask you that on air? If all the hair goes.
You might have.
I don't remember.
Because you're dirty like that. Huh? It was on the back of a ritual that I had to perform. And this is something that I've spoken about a lot. And thank you for sharing your platform on your radio show on 702 to allow me to talk about it when it was still so fresh. I had to make a decision in my life to go and reconnect with my father's side of the family, my biological father's side of the family. And what that meant was that I had to connect, spiritually, and I had to connect culturally. I didn't grow up having a relationship with my biological father. Only got to meet him when I think I was 13. And that was quite a moment for me, right? When, you get home from, I think I came from the shops or from school, I can't even remember. And, you find this man sitting, in your home, and you look at him and you just get hit by this feeling inside of like the deepest sense of familiarity. But I don't know you, but I think I know who you are. And all of that happens in a split second. And following that, he says, hi, I'm your father, And so that completely rocked my world. I was knocked off my axis for a good long time. Please give context for everybody who maybe doesn't know that what was the status of your understanding of who your father is at that time. And the reason I think it's so important that you keep sharing this story, I mean, after we had you on the show, we subsequently had multiple conversations about, with even Gogo Dino and Ganzi, about why it's important to have your correct yes. inadvertent commas surname, yes. why the name, means all of these things and how it connects. And I'm in no way saying that if you had like an abuser as a dad, you must still go get his surname. I think you got to listen to where all that reasoning comes. There's a reason that you might have been raised by a different person who is still your father, maybe not by DNA, but by them choosing. But just, share that context. I think so many young men will definitely be resonating with all of that. The man that raised me, who is still my father to this day, and the man that married my mother, taught me and showed me that father doesn't necessarily mean, biological, the man you come from, the seed you come from, that it's about your actions. So he's the man that raised me all my life. And at the time that my biological father reappeared, he came at a time where I felt I was complete. I felt I didn't feel like a void, Even though you knew that your dad is not your biological dad. Yes, and there was an unanswered question. And it's crazy what happens in the mind of a young person. And in that stage, I mean, I was in my early teens and so on. There was an unanswered question in my mind. A question that I didn't want to explore because I didn't want to have to deal with the answer. So much so that I'd never asked my mom this question to say, where's my dad? And so when that day came, that answer then reappeared and the question was sitting right in front of me, or the answer was sitting right in front of me. It is one of the most, moving experiences in human experience. And when you've gone through that, you can almost totally relate. Your idea of something completely shifts. And then I got put in a space where I had to figure out to say, okay, so what does this mean? So now that you've come back into my life, what does it mean? Does it mean like, we got to kick it? Or does it mean that it's just for me to know? What about the man that raised me? Is this, path disrespectful to him? Am I turning my back on the man that I consider to be my father because by action, heart and soul, that's what he was? And so all these questions popped up in my mind, and I never had an answer to all of them. My mom and my dad were instrumental in helping me deal with that reality. And And I respected the man that raised me even more when he said, listen, you need to go and like learn more about your father. Go and spend time with him. If you want to go on the weekends, go, you know, get to know him, you know, bring him into your life. And I thought that was powerful. And so there came a time where, because naturally the relationship was difficult to sort of get going. Even for me, I had difficulty like navigating, okay, how much of you do I bring in my life? And
was it also partly the fear of like, okay, cool, I got you now, but like, are you gonna disappear on me again? Like, is that part of that? How much do I give to this?
I think what was, for me, the biggest thing was about, you know, the why. Like why? Okay, I get the fact that you're back, but like, where were you? And why were you not in my life? I guess I'd gone through the experience of you not being around, so that fear is no longer there, because it's like, well, you know, I know what it's like. But now that you're here, why? And I must say, I mean, he was very gentle towards me. He told me about how he spoke about me a lot with his family, with my other siblings, and that gave me a sense of comfort in terms of saying, well, he clearly longed for me, and for whatever reason, we just never got to reconnect earlier in life. So we never had a relationship to speak of, in the sense that we just never got it going. And unfortunately, in 2011, he passed on, and you know, that was sort of a finality to say, I will never be able to build a relationship with him. The same relationship that I have with my son and my kids. I will have to build a relationship with him in death. I will have to learn about him through others that grew up with him, that know him. And that's what I've been doing. But I felt there came a time in my life where I had to balance my cultural and spiritual aspect. To say, I'm connected to my mother's side of the family, spiritually and culturally, but I haven't done the same for my father's side of the family. And that is who I am, because that is the lineage, that is the family heritage, and it is passed down through men, right? The family name is kept by the men, right? Simply because, you know, women, you know, are married into other families, they take up other names, and they are in those families to build those families and to keep that story going. And so, what of this name? So I had to perform rituals which involved, you know, bringing the families together, getting to connect with my family from a cultural perspective, my father's side of the family from a spiritual perspective, and also acknowledging his death. And this is a topic that is well known within the African and Black communities, about, you know, what we call Khutsana or Sififi in Sesotho, to say when you lose a parent, there's something that you have to do. You have to cleanse that cloud of darkness that comes upon you, you know, at that moment when you lose a parent. And so I had to perform that. Now, that stuff is deeply personal. Not everybody talks about it because it is deeply personal, but I'm comfortable with it because that's who we are. And so I had to perform that ritual only now and not back then when he passed on, so that I could remove whatever cloud, right, may have been hovering over me as a result of losing a parent. And so that's why I had to shave, and, you know, my hair, my eyebrows.
Who shaved down there?
It was out of bounds.
Was that your limit?
So one of my uncles had to perform the role.
Yes.
And he actually alluded to the fact that, listen, kamolao no tshwantse be ehlile ke tlosa le mane, you know what I mean? As in, like, he had to go down there, but he just respected the fact that there was an audience.
Oh yes. Also.
Yeah, there was an audience, because you're sitting there, you know, on a mat, and you have to, you know, perform this ritual in the presence of family, so that it is known that it was done. You know, so that there can be no question in the family as to ngwano o tlositse khutsana ya ntata hae na. And so that is why he was just like, it's fine, I'll respect.
And we're thinking that I don't want to say flexible ka mulao, but they take mulao and put it into context. Because I remember an uncle, my uncle passing away, and then they had to bariklapise.
Yes.
And when it came the part of shaving heads, where I was like, guys, you know the work that
I'm a celebrity.
So the compromise was, and I remember because I had braids at the time, and I might have even been in continuity, was that we shaved the bottom line of braids at the back.
I see.
Yes. Because I'm like, imagine me just rocking up now bald at work.
Yes.
When now, like, how? Continuity. And
so it's one thing to be bald, it's another to be browless.
Yeah, you did the whole thing.
Let me tell you a funny story, right? On the Monday, I get a brief from a client for a social media campaign. That involved...
When the eyebrows are gone.
Yes, that involved me having to shoot video and be in front of a camera, etc. And I was like, how? Like, I remember talking to my business manager, Jill. I'm like, Jill, what are we going to do? I ain't got no brows.
Yes.
Do I take the gig? She's like, take the gig. We'll draw them on.
Did you draw the brows?
We had to draw them on.
I need to see the footage. Did anybody comment on the brows?
Nobody even picked it up. And I think I've got the benefit of like dark skin, so you can get away with a couple of things.
Oh my goodness.
And it was a decent paying gig as well. So I suppose it was difficult to like let it go. And I remember my wife like drawing.
She did the drawing? Oh my goodness.
It was, you know what? It was the most unreal thing because it was like what the hell is going on? But that's the thing about life. And there's so many interesting things that are unpredictable, that, very uncomfortable, that take you out of your comfort zone. And you almost have to lap it up and make sense of it and move on and keep going. And as far as I know, the client was happy. And I'm happy that the client was happy. And that's that. So
he lied to you guys, just putting it out there.
No misrepresentation, no fake news, no lies.
I have to share something with you, but I know you and I have a relationship where I can. There's something in me screaming so loudly because you were saying about the why about your dad. And the word that keeps coming up is shame. And I don't know if that resonates at all, but I'm not usually as sympathetic to fathers who aren't present in their children's lives where they physically could be so. But recently, I've just been presented with such a different perspective of it. And I don't know why, as you were speaking, I was like, shame, that thing of, if I were to really be empathetic and trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who's like, but there is a man there that's doing it. Or I also know that back in the day when, Mosadi or a woman would be calling the father of her children to say, also I cannot chelete. Like it was always connected to that thing. And I don't know if that's something that resonates with you at all, of the fear of, what do I say? The fear of, when you let one day go by of not having reached out, and then it becomes now harder and harder.
Exactly.
Does that in any way resonate with you?
It does, in terms of trying to understand why, right, that happened. And I remember having conversations with him, and he would say things like, it was difficult. And I took that as the answer. And I almost had to assume what he meant. And this is not me, discrediting him in any way. It's simply expressing the fact that even for him it was difficult. That's what it told me, that it's difficult and it's deep, and you could see it in his eyes, you could see it in the tone at which he was speaking to me, that even for me, my child, this is difficult for me to have to sit here and explain to you why. And it's almost like I said, it's okay. I almost just said, it's fine. I'm prepared to let it go. It is well with my soul. I'm not going to hold it against you. I don't hate you. I've never hated him. Everything I've done in reconnecting with my family was to to honor who I am, to honor those that came before him. So, you know, there was an element of saying, he doesn't want to get into it because it's just too much. Maybe he didn't have the strength to get into it. Maybe he didn't know where to start.
Or maybe he didn't have the words.
Maybe he didn't have the words.
Because I sometimes feel, Jorge, language is limiting. Sometimes just hugging a person, for example, let's say somebody's lost their parent or even their child, like something so devastating. And a person just says nothing but hugs you, holds you. Sometimes I think language is limiting. But there's something just in when you were speaking, I thought, I can't imagine what it must be like to be ashamed. Somebody had shared with me something so powerful, somebody very close to me. And they said to me, and this person, also their father not only was not present in their lives for a long time, but they straight out denied that they are their child and went on to love other people's children as their own.
Right.
And this person said to me, one of the greatest gifts we can give our parents is not just forgiving them, but tell them. A lot of them walk around with a deep sense of shame, guilt for even the most present, amazing parents, for things they could have done differently, they could have done better. Because all the things we not just do, but all the things we experience, they take a deep responsibility in that. Even if you turn out to be an addict, or you're a jailbird, or even you being super successful, but somewhere things are not okay for you, they take a deep sense of responsibility. So looking a parent, Mama Kong, and saying, I forgive you. Not only do I forgive you, please lighten the load and start to enjoy your life. Like, I found that so powerful.
I'm in a space now where I have to still talk to my dad. I speak to him. He's no more. He's one of my ancestors. You know, he's taken a different form. So I have to speak to him. Hake Phahla, I have to speak to him. Right? Because that is a practice of speaking to your ancestors, those that have come before you. I can't ignore him and say, no, Wena, you are not there for me, therefore you're not one of my, you are. So when I acknowledge my ancestors, he's there in those acknowledgements. So I almost speak to him, you know, as if I've always known him. And whatever happened in the flesh when he was on earth, it happened. And that's that. And that is for me to process over time. It's for me to keep talking about with my family, with, you know, anybody that cares to listen, like you right now. That's the process. But I still have to talk to him.
Are you rich?
I'm rich in family.
And cause?
Family. Family. I'm one of those people where I could do anything. It could be a birthday, like an odd-numbered birthday, not like a 40th or a 35th or whatever, and my family just always comes through. I'm one of those kids that are known by family everywhere. We've got family in Joburg, we've got family in Lesotho, and I always talk about my connection to Lesotho and how my grandfather is from there on both sides, my mom and my dad's side. So I've got lots of family in Lesotho. So whenever I do anything, my family is always there, supporting me, rallying behind me. And that for me gives me so much, like, you know, power in a sense. I feel rich because I feel like I have everything.
Actually, we had Slicker on the show, and he was sharing that experience of, like, he had got both his children to go to church with him, and then when they were back home and he's washing dishes and he heard them saying, but I love you to infinity, and the other one's like, no, but I love you this much. And he said, like, he was set.
Yeah.
Like, that is it.
Yeah.
That's I'm at my pinnacle. What has been like a moment where you're like, I've made it? What was that experience or a moment that you can recall of like, like, this is it. This is what life is about?
Sure. I mean, you know, when you talk about, you know, parenting, it's exactly that. It's when you know, randomly hear your child saying they love you out of the blue. It's when you're watching your daughter play netball and every time they do something, they look at you for acknowledgement. You know, every time she shoots the hoop, she's looking at you to establish, Daddy, did you see that? It's getting home and watching your wife, recording videos with your kids, dancing videos for social media. All of that stuff for me just says, wow, man, it's sharp. The thing about, and a lot of people attribute rich to the financial aspect. Listen, I've been in this industry for so many years. I've made money, I've seen money, I make money, I see money, SARS takes money, people take money and don't give it back to me. You can't base your concept of being rich on something that is not constant. All you can do is use the financial means you have to elevate your life constantly. And that's what I've always experienced, a constant elevation in my life. From the minute I moved out of home into a 2-bedroomed, apartment in the north of Johannesburg and beyond. Every car that I've ever wanted to drive growing up, I've driven. So it's almost like you can't say money is the thing that is the ultimate. You actually realize that it's not. There are days when you'll get that nice check. Hey, but there's madness at home, or something is happening at work and it's upsetting you. There's just something that isn't right. You're loaded. You're sitting with six-digit, figures, but something isn't right. Something is not okay. You're sitting with a nice check, but your life is not balanced. Where's your father's side of the family? You're sitting with that money. You've got that nice car parked, and people are saying, "Oh, it's a nice car," and whatever, but there's something missing. There's something missing. And so you realize that money is not the thing that is a reflection of the ultimate in happiness and fulfillment in that moment. Money makes things easier. Money gives you access. When you want something, you do it. You buy it, you pay for it. When you want to put money away for something, you can do it. And that's been my experience.
Please share with everybody that what the new name is. You went from being Moeti Tsiki to
Matabi Matlu. Now, Matabi in Sesotho means joy and happiness, right? In that sense, in the descriptive sense, Matlu is a surname that is very unique. It is actually spelt like Matlotlo. Right, which
with an O.
With an O,
yeah.
Which loosely means treasures and riches and that sort of thing. But because of my ancestry, and when I did the research, trying to find out where we come from in ancestry, hundreds of years ago, it turns out that one of my ancestors actually came from Swaziland and moved into Lesotho, and that was common in those days with many ethnic groups moving into different regions of Southern Africa. And so that Swati Madlulu came to the Matlutlu name that we have now. Mm-hmm. So these are some of the things that I've actually enjoyed having to research and find out, like about my own identity. But the name is a name that I was given, a name that exists within the family, named after one of my many grandfathers. And so it's a name that I've owned. Like when I bump into people that I don't know and that don't know me, that's the name I give them. Because if I say Matabi to somebody who knows me as Moeti, they're going to be like, huh? Then I have to explain. So I'd rather do the explaining first and then...
After the face.
Yeah. And it's a name that I've owned. It's a name that they use in my family. My family members use that name. And I'm comfortable with it. Yeah.
Matabi.
Joy and happiness.
I can't get used to calling you that, but
it's a bit soft though, isn't it? It's Moeti is Moeti means visitor, and it's got its own kind of ring and shade to it. Matabi it's got a softer shade.
I get you completely, and I think I just want to say I madly respect you sharing this part of yourself. I think it's important. And it got me wondering, how do you feel when conversations are happening around the fact that, single mothers are villainized and, what is the term where they say, like, you don't marry a single mother, and which always gets me thinking, but like those of you who have stepdads, like what do you think about that, considering that there was a man who chose you? He literally chose you, not just as, okay, you're part and parcel. They actively, intentionally chose you. What are your thoughts about those type of conversations that happen?
It shows a lack of understanding in terms of what actually happens out there, because my mother is the luckiest woman on the planet to have the husband that she has. I mean, my mom, leans on him for everything. And he is a rock, not just for her in many different ways, but for all of us in the family, for all his kids. I have never felt like I was not his biological son. In fact, that very phrase almost makes me uncomfortable, because it's like you can't even use that phrase in the same sentence as your experience of being raised by this incredible man. And so it takes, the utmost amount of humility, oceans and oceans of understanding and, perspective. And I don't know where he gets that from. I don't even think it's something, yes, he was raised, by a good family, but some people are just gifted in a certain way, that they're able to come into somebody else's life and perform the most unbelievable role. The role that he performed in my mom's life, to not only be her partner and her husband, but to also be my dad. There is nothing that equates to that in power and meaning and presence. It's just unbelievable. So there are some of us who have good experiences of being raised by somebody that isn't necessarily your biological father, where you don't feel, and that's why it always baffles me when people say, but she's not my mother, and that's why she's treating me like this. And I'm like, why can't everyone just be like my dad? Why can't everyone just be like my dad? But we understand we are people and we're different. Our context is different. Our, history and the things we've been through and the things that shape us are very different.
It's so funny that the one time I was asking on my show about this concept of compulsory paternity testing, and the number of men that called in to say, Relebogile, I don't want to know. Those are my kids, like or not, I chose them. And I was surprised. But what it reminded me of is how conversations we have on air versus what's happening on social media, are so far apart.
Yeah.
Have you ever been taken up by what's said on social media, forgetting that it is a bubble?
I'll give you a simple thing. Like in what we do for a living, like, as broadcasters, as media personalities, radio shows, there's a perception that, for instance, and I know it's not on topic with the issue around fatherhood or whatever, but just for an example, I mean, your radio show can trend every day. That doesn't mean you've got the most listeners. That doesn't mean you've got the biggest radio show. It just simply means that there's a community of people who happen to be talking about you quite intensely in a concentrated way in that period for a given amount of time. So sometimes what we see on social media is not a true reflection of the realities and the experiences, the lived experiences that people have. And I look at my upbringing and the father that I had. In fact, the reason why I think I'm a decent dad is because of the unbelievable father that I had, right, in him. I don't think I'll ever be like him. He's just too great. I don't think I'll ever reach those heights. But he is somebody that I look to and say, this is how you daddy. This is how you father. He is my blueprint. And I'm actually happy that I got to learn from someone that I saw every single day about being present, being active, being involved, sacrificing yourself. Oh, yeah, I mean... Yeah.
What are the habits that your children inherited from you?
I think naggy. Yeah.
You're naggy?
Apparently. apparently I'm naggy.
Girl, I'm on your side. Just know, I'm on your side. Naggy,
Because
yes.
people always say, banaba Moeti, you know? And when people say that, already you know, people are saying, you guys are your father's children, because this is exactly how he is. And so you guys, you know, naggy and, you know, very needy, you know.
I never figured you as a needy guy.
I'm a man of many shades. But and it's interesting you say that, because even it took me a long time to admit to myself that, actually, my guy, you have a neediness in you. Own it, it's okay.
Okay, so naggy, needy, what's another one?
Notice how it's all the ends.
I know. What's the other one?
Their hearts are open. And it's not an irritating habit, but I think it's a positive thing. And their hearts are very open to people. And there's a warmth about them that they share and express to other people that I feel I have. And I think they got that from me. And yeah, I mean, those are the things that I've picked up. But the naggy, the needy, that's...
Did they inherit your stubbornness?
Am I stubborn?
I think you not necessarily as like a general temperament, but I think you can be about things that you very are firmly in belief with. I think you can be very stubborn.
I think my 9-year-old daughter has that. She's very like, you know, and she's always, you know, clear on what she wants and what she believes, and she's, you know, like just on it, and she holds on to that belief, and in most cases with good reason, because like with me, it's always with good reason. I'm not stubborn for nothing. But it's something. It's interesting because you can't. There's only so much you can do as a parent to shape your kids, but there are things that they rub off from you, and you have no control over that. You're like, ooh, whoa, no, don't take that part. And you hope that it's a trait that is not going to compromise who they are, compromise them in society, make them, you know, you hope that they take things from you that are going to make them better people.
I love that we are able to have parenting conversations and you regularly advise me stuff. And I recall you sharing how, you know, stuff about your daughter that I was like, I was exactly that way when I was her age, which is the perfectionist,
yes.
and the 95%
yes.
is not enough.
Yes.
And how many more extracurricular
yes.
activities can I put on my plate?
Yeah.
What are you doing as a parent to nurture and create an environment where they can flourish while also being themselves?
It's so interesting, that journey, because, you know, I'm sitting with a teenager, you know, who is a boy, and it's a very, very tricky period, right? Where, you know, anything can happen. You know, there is anxiety, at least on my end, about how he could possibly turn out, even though I have confidence.
You need to use the Drew Hill punishment. You know the Drew Hill punishment.
What's the Drew Hill punishment?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me tell you. So if you've got kids that, especially like the Drew Hill punishment is when the kids are not doing something the way they were supposed to. But I'm going to use it in the context of the one video I saw, which was a little boy, he must have been 6 or 7, who struggles with his emotions. So the punishment is you get them to do, tell me what you want, right? And so the punishment is that, but the way this dad is using it is when his son struggles with his emotions, he makes him do, tell me, but you know the high jump, tell me, until he's calmed down, and then they have the conversation.
Wow, I must actually try it. Although I feel like my teenage son is going to look at me like I'm absolutely crazy.
You have to see the videos.
Want to divorce me and disown me.
Yes.
I mean, I want nothing but the best for him. And he is, you know, a good kid. He's involved, you know, in his schoolwork and extramural activities, but he's also a teenager. And he's not that 10-year-old that, you know, was just so easy to control. Now it's like, you say 1, yeah, now about a 2. Or a 3 out of 4. And then it's like, okay. it's about learning those parameters. And I've had to learn that you can't always be at it with your teenage son or daughter. Sometimes you've got to let them be. You have to repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Whether it's a principle you're trying to teach them, whether it's a value you're trying to instill, you have to repeat it over and over again. And they'll still ignore you, but you have to do it until it lands. And when it lands, you won't even realize that it landed. So it's a new experience for me to have to raise a teenager. And then, you know, you're dealing with a 9-year-old, for example, who is just, the world is like her stage, and like the camera's on and the lights are on and everybody's watching me. And it's beautiful because it's innocent and it's beautiful. And it's like, yes, Nana, this is your theater. So it's like two different worlds. Like the one world is like fairy tale, right? Fantasy. Raising a teenager.
So you were never ready?
I was never ready.
Every time I complain about having a toddler, they're like, wait until you have a teenager. At least a toddler you can like pick up and move.
Yes.
When they're like, I'm not bathing them, but a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you see him in the morning or after school, you're like, hello, my boy. And you're happy to see him. Hi, Dad. Okay. Is something wrong? No. Okay. In his room for hours. Are you okay? Yes. Okay. And in my mind, I'm like, what is going on? It took me a while to register and to understand that that's the process. That's what you go through, the hormonal changes and the physical changes and everything else that's going on in his mind and in the world around him. And that you have to almost, you know, take your hands off and just come in when you need to. You know, step back and then come in when you need to. And it's hard because you come from lifting your child and carrying them and hugging them and whatever. And now you're like, okay, you think you can drive? Drive ahead.
Have you ever asked yourself if your son hates you? Like your teenager he hates you?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. It's like, you know, I'm going to pick you up at this time tomorrow. Mm. You get there to pick him up and you still wait 15, 20 minutes. And it happens the day after and the day after. And I'm like, all right. Oh, I'm bad.
I love how you phrase it. Oh, I'm bad.
And I mean, it's, and I always laugh about it in hindsight. In the moment, I'm like absolutely pissed because I'm thinking, I told you yesterday that don't make me wait. We agreed on a time, so arrive on time. I'm here to pick you up. But it's the song and dance, isn't it? It's the realities of raising a teenager. And, you know, when it's all said and done, he's my son. I absolutely love him, and I know he's going to be just fine in life.
I'm just like, you probably were like that as a teenager where you're like, ain't nobody going to tell me.
I never got
1 o'clock for what?
I never got picked up from school. I had to take taxis from Soweto via Bred to Northcliffe. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? It's it was a completely different reality. You know, growing up in Soweto, having to take taxis to Bred before it's this building that it is now. And then having to, you know, take a taxi to Northcliffe High and then the same thing later on after school. I mean, it's completely different now. Now it's about pickups and drop-offs and all this other stuff.
How would your wife describe the kind of husband you are?
The man that makes her laugh.
The man that makes her laugh?
Yeah.
And?
And she loves to laugh. Mm-hmm. And I think I complete her.
Oh.
Yeah.
You complete her. Is that feeling reciprocated at the level you're speaking about?
Oh, absolutely. Given the kind of person that I am, you know, and I think I'm very multi-layered. So having someone like her in my life who's able to understand that and not be, you know, put off by certain moments in my life where I feel a bit needy or where I feel this or feel that is beautiful for me. And she has allowed me to be me, not just, you know, at a professional level, but even in my personal space. Everything that I've had to go through in recent times with, you know, this process, reconnecting with my family, she's been like the champion. And it's not easy. to, and this is what the adults tell me, the elders, they tell me this, and they say, and they look at this and they say, you're lucky to have a woman like that in your life who can be there right by your side when you're going through this process, because not many people are like that. I don't know what that means. I don't know where that statement comes from, that's the feedback I'm getting. But it's not just about the feedback, it's how I feel. In moments where I had to make decisions and think about things, she was right there. And it's been no different in every other part of my life, quite frankly, where she's had to understand everything. You have to understand why you have groupies. You have to understand why you have to be at a gig till 7 a.m. She has to understand this, understand when a female caller calls in on air and she's flirtatious. You know, she must just understand.
Please,
So
all of it.
So all of it. I mean, I don't think it's something that she could have ever prepared herself for in life. She had to learn on the job. And to learn on the job is not easy. So I always give her credit for that, right? And, you know, my family and how we are, and we're a lot. Like, my family's big. There's a lot of us. We overwhelm everyone. Like, everyone. And she just embraced that. She's like, oh, this is my bunch. And she embraced that. And that is not something that I take for granted. I see it as special. Because sometimes people end up, and I've seen this with people I know, they end up with people who remove them from family, people that matter to them.
I'm glad you recognize that.
Yeah.
Because it isn't an easy thing. I mean, I've had various in-laws in my sister-in-law, who are like, you guys are a lot. You're very in each other's lives, and it takes, you know, a lot. Like, you speak to your mom every day? No, we speak to our moms once a month.
No, exactly.
So I think you guys were meant to be together. And I think that you got the exact person you needed to be with. But I need you to do something for me. Please put your left hand up and do this to the camera, and then explain yourself. Whoa, please explain. A guy wedding ring.
You know, rings get lost. They do.
Like, why not the DJ?
They do. No, they get lost.
Okay.
No, but you've seen me with my ring, but it gets lost.
Have I?
Like, ask any married person
Why are you stuttering?
who is not in this room about rings, and they will tell you that rings get lost.
Who buys the man's ring? Because I spoke about this on air, and, you know, with things going on social media, so many people are like, if she won't buy your wedding ring, don't marry her. Who bought your ring?
She chose it and she bought it.
Oh, with your money or her money?
At that stage,
it's
like,
our.
okay, who's?
So there is a ring that's lost.
Yeah, but I must, you know, stress the fact that there is a moment that she feels will be the moment for me to get my ring back.
Do you want her to propose to you?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, no, I just was saying.
I've left it to her. I said,
oh, I see.
I said, no, this is your department.
Okay.
So, you know, deal with your department. And when you are ready to share something with me, or to tell me how we move on or how we proceed, please enlighten me.
Mama we. Gona le tattoo. They don't get lost, ne? Or I'll cut the finger. Kidding. Just in closing, what do you think is one of the most misunderstood things about you? I mean, we've spoken about the arrogance, we've spoken about all of that stuff, but at the heart, and it could even just be within your inner circle that you'd want to share with everybody watching.
I think it probably is the fact that I'm just so to myself, or that I'm like a one-man show, that I'm an island, you know, I'm not cliquey, right? So if you say, from the legends, like if you say Fresh, you're going to say Oskido, Christos, Vinny, right? I'm not cliquey. I don't have, because I get along with everybody. And I think sometimes people misunderstand that as, who does he think he is to act like he's an island? When in actual fact, I don't. I interconnect myself with everyone around me. And in our industry, clicks for some is important. It's like their currency. And I don't doubt the fact that people are probably your number one currency more than anything else. But I think that's the one thing. And I don't talk a lot about my relationships with people in the industry, what I've done for people, how I've opened doors for people, how I've helped people move from A to B, leg up, literally put you on, literally recommend you, whatever. I don't talk about that because I don't think it's something that I need to talk about. You can't talk about how people need to do that. But to talk about Pake and say, I was there when he did this for me. And so I think that's the one thing perhaps that people probably, and I've just picked it up. I don't know if it's a misunderstanding or but that's what it is. But I get along with everybody. And I literally mean it. I mean, I don't have any beef with anyone. And so, yeah, I think that's the one thing that I've noted on my end to say, okay, people think I'm an island, like I'm a one-man show, and I'm not. There are a lot of people that have played and continue to play a vital role in my career, people in the industry, people that I call for advice, just for thoughts, whatever. I've had that with you on many occasions. T-Boss from Kaya, call him a lot. Fresh, we talk a lot. So many people. Lebza the villain, talented DJ, really got a good energy about him. We talk a lot. So a lot of people that I lean on as well in the industry.
Matabi, Maikoko, ke lebogana kwao, and you know how much love I have for you. I will tell you every day. And I'm just so appreciative that you took the time, because you could have been like, Ole, we spoke already.
Never. There's always a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you bringing me into your space, because I know that this is your space. This is you. This is not a radio station that you happen to work for. So the meaning is more than just about a space. It's your home, it's your thing.
The only thing I'm going to ask for is produce some music again.
I will.
Thank you.
And I am going to.
Thank you. We'll be looking out. And just mad love for you. Always mad love for you. And now and then, sometimes, ungregele lunch go cafeteria. Or coffee.
Have I not bought you lunch yet at work?
I think I might have forced you to pay for me that one time. I can't recall.
Yeah, which counts. I'm very generous. People take advantage of me all the time. So I think you need to up the ante on that.
Thank you so much. And in closing, I'm going to share that when you were coming in our group, our WhatsApp group where things get updated, I won't say who, but someone on our team said MoFlava is here. Thank you so much for tuning in to
I've heard it all. No flavor, less flavor. More Flava. No Flava.
With no flavor. Follow us at Relebogile Pod on all of the socials. Comment down below. I know this man will answer your questions that you have for him, but also let us know who else you'd like to see come through on the podcast. Until next time.